James. Who recognizes the car accident? I'm getting the screeching tires. Car accident. I'm being told it's on this side. Do you recognize that? Okay. Is it somebody you expected? Okay. I'm just going to wait for it. When I start to hear the screeching tires and I feel like I want to get in a vehicle with somebody and I start to feel there's some kind of impact, it's their way of validating that there's some kind of vehicle accident. So whether car, whether motorcycle, they'll make me feel it. Do you understand it? I've even had ATVs before where I feel like I'm riding through the woods. So I'm just going to wait until that person steps in. Okay, James. And who recognizes the James friend of family? Alright, so I'm going to come sit with you guys next. But I'm feeling somebody in a car accident, and they weren't very old. Do you understand it? Okay, so I know it's somebody younger, so when they step in, I'll get to them. But I'm going to ask him to start coming over. I'm being told James. And it could be that both of them step in. Okay, and it could be you guys sat together for a reason. So I'm going to leave it for a minute. Yeah, friend of family. Alright, there's someone by the name of James, and someone's older and someone's younger. Okay. And he's the young boy for you, honey? Do you understand it? Did you know him? Okay, I'm just asking. Because he's starting to come and stand beside her, but he's directing his energy here. And sometimes it can be a push because of somebody that comes with you. Okay? And who's the paternal that you were hoping for? Huh? Okay. Because I'm being told there's a paternal energy trying to step in behind him. So I'm going to leave it, but I'm being told James right now, okay? So I'm going to start with him. I'm being told friend to family. Do you understand it? And he was young when he passed. Do you understand? Is he saying to me I was very young, okay? So I'm going to start with him, and then I feel there's a parental energy just behind. So I'm going to leave it, and we'll see who starts to introduce themselves, okay? Yeah, he's saying James. I still feel like I want to shorten his name. When they make me feel like I want to shorten their name and call them Jim, Jimmy, whatever, it means that he went by something else. Perfect. Perfect. You understand it? Okay, good. I will always get the proper name first, and that's why I said just wait until I come over to you. I'll figure it out. When they make me feel like I want to shorten their name, it can be Jim, it can be Jimmy, there could be a nickname that his friends called him. It's him making me try to feel that other name, because most people refer to him as that. Do you understand it? He was very close with your son. Was he like almost like a second son? I feel like he's at your house. He keeps saying to me, I always saw her, I was always at her house. Do you understand it? All right, perfect. So he's stepping in. This is what he's saying to me. Little did I know things would end up the way they did. Do you understand it? Okay, so it's just a blank statement. It's the very first thing he's saying to me, okay? It's okay. Alright, I'm asking him to come stand beside me. So I'm asking him to shift. And it's just because his energy's getting weaker, and if he's beside me, I can attach to him a little stronger. Yeah, James. Everybody called him that, Jamie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said, I don't care what you call me, I just want to talk. I said, okay, he's young. Yeah. Do you understand it? He's young. Do you understand what he's saying to me? I have to take part responsibility in what happened with me. And I feel like I'm just going to leave it, okay? Because I feel like I want to start to look at pill bottles. Do you understand that? And I'm going to leave that. But sometimes that can be medication, or sometimes it could be something else. So I'm just going to leave it. So he makes me feel like it has to do with the actions leading up to. Do you understand? So I'm just going to leave it until he explains it to me, okay? Yeah, he just keeps saying James to me. He was one of your son's best friends? Because he keeps saying to me he was one of my closest friends. Do you understand it? Okay, yeah. And who's the one that got that tattoo in the honor? Because he's making me feel like I want to put a tattoo on, and I know it's a friend of his, and he keeps saying, tell him I said thank you for the tattoo. So I'm going to leave it because I feel like you're going to find out about it after, okay? Yeah, he's making me touch my shoulder. He says, yes, there was an honor of a tattoo. So I'm going to leave that for a minute. I don't have very long to talk. I know you can't understand some of the things that I'm trying to give to you. This man beside me, he's talking to my guide. He's saying it has to do because I stayed here for so long. And it's hard for me to give you the pictures, meaning his energy's getting low. Remember I said before when I started attached to him, I had him to come strong. Okay, so that's why I'm not understanding why he's talking about these actions, meaning he feels like he could have done something differently as far as the passing. So I'm going to leave it, because that can mean anything, whether health or accidental. It's his way of feeling like he could have done something different. And sometimes that can just be about saying goodbye to people. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to leave it until he says it to me. I really don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure out what to say. I'm just listening to his words. I just wanted to say thank you for that hat too. I knew she would listen to me because I knew she would give the message I was going to say. Parents are still here? His parents? Mm-hmm. Because he keeps saying, it wasn't just about saying hi to her. I needed my friends to know that I'm doing okay, but I need her to tell my parents. Do you understand it? Perfect. Okay, so here's what's happening. His energy is so low. It's like me communicating with him at like 30% instead of 100. So I just have to take my time with him because I can't get past why he's making me feel the actions of what happened, and it's just because he's not strong enough to give me the image to make me feel it. Like when I was feeling the cancer and I could feel the crossover and everything. Do you understand it? Okay. So what's happening is sometimes they will talk about the actions leading up to. And that's why he's taking partial responsibility. Because what happens with the partial responsibility and the actions leading up to, it can be just about the wrong place, wrong time. Not having a chance to say goodbye to everybody and actions that they chose just prior that actually lead to the accident. Do you understand it? Perfect. Good, 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 good. As long as you understand that. My dad tries to block it out, and my mom has a hard time because she feels like, oh, this is interesting. This is what he's saying to me. Are you close to his parents? Do you understand it? Okay. Do you see that the dad is blocking things out? Because he keeps saying to me, I see my dad doesn't try to think about me, or when he does, he tries to block it out because it's too painful for him, so he's just hiding away. Do you understand it? Okay. So he's explaining what it's like for them now as far as the healing process, what he sees in them, and the difference of it's about him coming through. He makes me feel like he wants to talk to them because he's trying to give them a little bit of peace and healing about the passing. Do you understand it? Okay. My mom's not handling it very well either, but I see dad and it's like he's in a shell. Do you understand? Perfect. Yeah. He makes me feel like his mom has prayed and asked why they couldn't change places. Do you understand it? And he keeps saying to me, I don't want her to do that anymore. I know it's not easy for them, for me to not be there with them in the way that they want me to. I know it's hard for them because I wasn't very old. I needed to say that I know about the tattoo. I had to make you feel my parents so I could make you feel what I see that they're both going through. especially my dad, because he's not dealing with it very well, because he's not letting himself feel anything. Do you understand it? Okay, so that's what he's seeing in him. This is what he's saying to me for you to tell them. Just tell them I still see what's going on. It's hard for my mom because there's ways that she feels like she said goodbye to me forever. But it doesn't have to be like that, because she needs to know that I've been there. Do you understand it? Okay. Do you see that in her? Okay. He just said, sorry, I'm doing the best I can, meaning he's just taking it slow and trying to give me anything he can. Tell her I said thank you. Tell them that I'm here, meaning he's in heaven. He makes me feel like if he would have survived it, he really wouldn't have been able to live a life because of the damage. Do you understand it? Because he's making me sick to my stomach. I feel like I'm going to touch here and here. Do you understand? So he's making me feel where the impact happened. Do you understand it? Okay, so he's doing this and he's doing this and he's making me feel it, and I feel a little bit of sickness to my stomach, and he's talking about the damage. Okay, he said there was too much damage to my system, that even if I would have survived, it wouldn't have really been a life to live, and they could have possibly have had choices that I wouldn't have wanted them to really go through. Do you understand that? Okay, because that's what he's saying to me. Okay, he's trying to be very polite. Do you understand that? Yeah. Very young-hearted. I don't want to say full of himself, but he was a character. Do you understand it? Like very, very lively. That's how I feel about him. Very like on the go, very outgoing, had a lot of friends, but he had such a good heart and really cared for people. Do you understand it? Okay, because I'm feeling this personality. Here's what happened. My guide just stepped in and said, Kelly, take my energy so you can talk to him. Meaning my guide is offering his energy for this boy so I can start going like that and communicating with him. Okay? So, because I was like, okay, because I had to take it slow with him. So things are going to start to come through really, really quick, because it's on a higher speed when the information's coming through with my guide, okay? So that's why I'm talking as fast as I am. But he just makes me feel like he's so outgoing. I feel like, do you understand why I say, like, I feel it almost like he's the jokester of the bunch? Okay. Because he's laughing at me right now. He makes me feel like he's the jokester of the bunch, and then he keeps making me feel like I can't. My guide's saying tomfoolery, but you have to remember my guides are older. My guide's saying tomfoolery, meaning he's making me feel what his personality is and how it was and how he was when he was here. Do you understand it? Okay, good. Just always looking to have fun, but I also feel like he was focused at the same time, but he also had a very good heart, and he was pretty humble. Do you understand it? I just feel like he's very well-rounded. Okay. You liked him being in your house?
Yes.
Okay. He said some days I was probably there too much. Do you understand it?
Yeah.
Meaning he felt like he was kind of intruding, and sometimes you have to remember, you know, it's about his perception. Okay? Tell my parents I said hi. Tell my dad I see what he's struggling with. I know it's hard on them. My guide's saying to me they're not going to let me go through this car accident because it'll be too hard on my system from what I felt here and here already. Do you understand it? Okay. All right, honey, what else do you want to say to me really quick? They're pulling his energy out, so he's standing at the end of the table now. Tell them I came. Tell them I love them. Tell everybody else I say thank you for the things they did for me. Meaning there's different ways they've honored him since the passing. Do you understand it? And I know you know about those. And I know one is the tattoo, so you'll have to let me know when you figure out who got it, because I know somebody did, okay? And I just don't think that it may be something that you know, or just might not be registering right now. So you'll just have to send me a message when you figure it out, okay? Because he keeps doing this. And it doesn't mean that it's on the arm. It's their symbolism that they give me when they make me feel like I want to touch my arm, and they say tattoo, meaning there's a tattoo in the remembrance. That's all it is, okay? Tell them I wasn't afraid. Tell them I wasn't afraid. Yeah. All right, he's starting to step out. Go see if I can get anything else out of him. As he walks out, I can see all this blue around him, because I'm starting to see his aura color, and there's like all this blue around him. All this blue. Do you understand it? Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. All the blue around him. Tell them to take care of themselves. Let them know that I'm happy here and that I'm doing okay. Meaning it's just his way of validation that he's on the other side, and that he's in heaven, and that he's happy, and that his soul is at peace, and he doesn't want them to remember the way that he suffered. Do you understand it? Because he makes me feel like they felt they didn't really have a full goodbye with him the way they wanted to. Do you understand? Because he just said to me as he starts to step out, my parents feel like they really didn't have a chance to say goodbye to me. That's why it's been so hard on them, and that's why I had to tell you and make you feel what it's been like for my dad and for my mom, because they're both on complete opposite ends, meaning the healing process. And I'm being told they're supportive of each other. Do you understand it? But it's like they're both going through the same thing. So this is the way I'm going to describe it. Whether it's parents or whether it's anyone in the family, everyone heals differently, everyone heals in different stages, and everyone goes through the grief process differently. So what happens with this is, as these healings start to happen, sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves that we're not giving each other support. And then sometimes we get so caught up in supporting each other that we're not allowing ourselves to heal. And I feel like he's supporting her, and he's not allowing himself. Do you see it? Do you understand it? Okay. And she's so caught up in what she went through, and she sees that he's not dealing with it the way that she thinks he should, but she's still trying to give him the support, and then she gets drawn right back into her world of the grief. Do you understand? Do you understand what I mean by that? So that's why he's making me feel what happened with this father, because he doesn't want his father to feel like he can't focus on the good times and remember the memories that they did share. Because I'm being told as soon as he starts to think of him, he thinks about how he lost him and what happened. He's not thinking about the things that were actually shared before that loss went, okay? So sometimes what happens with this is, especially when they see what's going on with someone in a grief stage as far as the healing, what can happen with this is there can be certain things that they'll see with us and with what's going on with us on the other side, and they see more than we even realize. So sometimes somebody can go through this healing process and they can see that they're not really healing, or they're trying to offer different comfort or different guidance, I say wisdom, from the other side, because they can see more what we're going through sometimes than we even realize ourselves, because they can see it in us, and they see the daily actions between the two on a different level. Okay, so it's his way of trying to give them comfort, but also trying to help them in the moment of what's happening. Meaning he's trying to give guidance as to what this father and this mom are going through, to make the progression as far as the healing and what they're going through easier for them. That's all it is. So much more I know he could have said, but he did a great job. And I only had him just for a few short minutes.